Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wraith and welcome to a preview of Quantum Rush Champions. This is a game that's currently being developed and published by a company called GameArt Studio. It's available for early access and it has been since the 20th of October. It's basically a futuristic action racing game and it's a single player spin-off to Quantum Rush Online. So let me go into a... Whoops. I go into arcade. That's not what I wanted. The gameplay for this game is fairly solid. I encountered a minimal amount of bugs in my time playing this. So I did encounter a few, but not as many as you'd expect for an early access title. Now, it is actually fairly basic, and it's diverse at the same time. And I say basic because, I mean, really all you do... Just move my mouse cursor out of the way. All you do is really race. There's not much else that you can really mess up with this. It's pretty straightforward. But it's diverse for a few reasons. And those reasons include the boosters, which we're about to see right here. Which basically gives you a speed boost. I don't know how else to better explain that. And then there's secondary weapons, which I'm about to pick up another one here. Oh, okay, maybe not. Secondary weapons are just pickups you get on the track. And they can range from different weapons. So as I've got here, I've got something that can lock onto them. So that hit the complete wrong person, but that's okay. And this here is like a storm cloud. So you've got others which you can pick up along the way. So it's fairly diverse in what you can use to attack your enemies. Also, you've got the ability to go sideways on certain tracks, as you're seeing me doing here. This is a perfect track because this is like bang on with the script that I wrote for this. And upside down as well, which adds to the absolute crazy. Ooh, and this thing here that regenerates your energy, which you notice in the top right. Also, you've got some basic tactical elements in the game, but this really depends on playstyle. I mean, you don't really have to go full-on tactic. You can go really basic for tactics. Ooh, that's a new one. Never had that happen before. But yeah, basically, if your goal for the race is to come first, generally, here's one of those pickups I was telling you about. One of those different pickups you can get, which is smoke. Makes it harder to see. What was I saying? Tactics, yes. So if the goal is to come first in the race, obviously you want to hit as many boosters as you can because you're pretty much guaranteed to come first if you do. Otherwise, you can make the choice to risk going for weapon pickups if there's people ahead of you. You know, it's very basic. Nothing like over-the-top crazy. Really, you can play how you want. Let's see if I can shoot this guy. Can I get him? Oh, I think I got him. Yeah, I did. So, yeah, that's pretty much as diverse as it gets. And as you've obviously noticed by now, up the top, I've got 3 inventory slots for pickups. Now, you can actually remove these pickups. So, say if there's a pickup ahead, which I want to pick up like this one, I can remove the one I just did. And you can do that by pressing down on the D-pad. The only problem is, it's really difficult to concentrate on actually killing these guys and playing at the same time and commentating at the same time. Come on, we can get him. No, I missed the lock on. There we go. So yeah, as I was saying, there isn't really much incentive to actually remove a pickup, which is kind of lame. You're pretty much better off just using it as quickly as you can. Although you do have some sort of cooldown before you can use the next one. It doesn't really tell you when, but you do have it. Also, the primary weapon, which is this lame thing here, it's pretty redundant at this stage, and you'll notice in the top left that it has like an energy as the temperature. Sorry, if it overheats, I can no longer fire it. I find it's pretty redundant because it just doesn't do enough. Like, I don't know. I think either... Oh, I've been hit with something. Oh, he shot me with drugs. Jesus Christ. It's... I don't know. I think either get rid of it or balance it out because it's just doesn't do much. I don't feel that it does much, and I think some people might agree with that. So HUD, the HUD, obviously you can see it here, and I've dropped to 30 FPS. It's not bad. It was a little bit confusing at first. I mean, obviously you can understand the temperature. That's pretty much a given. It says heat right there. Energy, which is what burns down on the top right when I boost like this. And then to the left, you've got the timer for how long I've got left to kill. And on the right, I've got 2 kills and 0 deaths. And then on the bottom, I've got speed. The only thing I found confusing is that in other races, it was sort of difficult to tell whether I was coming first or how many people were in the race, you know, those kind of things. But it didn't really take long to get the hang of it. The only thing I would really recommend with the HUD is basically adding, where you've got the inventory, is just adding arrows to tell you which one of the D-pad things work. Okay, how do I leave the race? B? A? No? Okay. Now, the controls are actually fairly good as well. They're what you kind of expect. What do we want? Do we want against the clock? No, let's go a normal race. They're kind of what you expect for a racing game. You've got A. A is to accelerate. You've got B to look behind you. You've got X as your boost or your NOS, if you want to call it that. But something that actually adds a bit of an interesting twist on this is that the left trigger and right trigger will actually control different brakes. So left trigger controls the left brake and right trigger controls the right brake, which I will show you here in a second. So you'll notice that little flap, which is really cool. You can hit them both, which doesn't really do much. But this is obviously to help you steer. So if you want that sharper steering, you can use that. I like that. That's actually really nice. Now, I am playing with a controller, but I did try the keyboard before, just in the interest of this preview. I thought I'd try it out and go, oh yeah guys, it's not bad. I found the keyboard controls atrocious. I wasn't really fond of them. You can change the keys around, but personally I would highly recommend a gamepad. I didn't like, because you have to control your brakes. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm going nuts here. Because you have to control the brakes, you've got W and S to WASD to go forward and steer, and then you've got, I think it was J and L to use the brakes. So your fingers are kind of a little all over the place, and then Q and E was to do stuff. Really, I would recommend a control, or if you want, you can just bind different keys. Entirely up to you. There was one issue that some people had mentioned, one that I noticed, that key bindings didn't actually save between each session. So that's something the developers might want to look into. They may have fixed it, I'm not too sure. I haven't tried it since because I use the controller, so just keep that in mind. If you're planning on using the keyboard and you bind everything, you might have to redo everything every time you play a new session, which isn't really ideal. I did actually find one bug, and this is an intermittent bug. It was with the weapon selection. I had situations where it would select all the weapons, and then it wouldn't let me change anything. So that one, I don't know. I had it pop up after like an hour and a half, so it might not happen to anyone else. It might happen. I can't really tell you where or when. But yeah, that was like one of the other bugs that I encountered. Now, the speed for the game, because naturally this is a futuristic racer, and it's very reminiscent of a game that some people might have played called Wipeout. I never really truly played Wipeout to its fullest, but I did play a few demos. Remember back on those PlayStation 1 days, the good old days where you actually got something with the console on a damn disc? Well, Wipeout was included with that, and I tried it out, and boy, it was really fun. But for me, sometimes in this, now it could just be me, but I feel as though as if the game isn't as fast-paced as it could be. Like, I'm going 1,000 kilometers an hour. Theoretically, I could be wrong, I'm not a physicist, but theoretically I should not be able to see the things around me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know, it's fast-paced, but for me it just doesn't feel so much so. I feel that I could be going faster, or the visuals could express the speed that I'm going at a little bit better. Whoa, I almost hit a mine. Let's try and get this guy. So this is the only time that the primary weapon is really useful, is when they're practically dead already. Oh, I can't... Whoa, it took a while to let me use my cooldown thing. But yeah, that was something that I did feel in terms of the speed. Like, you see the water doesn't do anything. That's more about visuals. We'll get into that later. Now, there is some things that really, really irritate me about this. And this is the... Actually, we'll go to them now. We'll go quit race. These two particular race types that just frustrate me. Like, oh man, do they frustrate me. The first one we're going to take a look at is damage control. Now, as you can see, I think the highest I got in this is silver. Now, the aim of this is pretty much to control your damage. Or basically just not get any damage at all. If you damage your vehicle, you're going to lose these counters. There's counters that go up and constantly give you a boost. Now, you have to get 10 in order to get gold. I'm not saying this is impossible. I have no doubts that there are people that have probably finished it, but I also have no doubts that there are going to be people out there who are on my side, that this is actually a pain in the ass of a race. So, as you can see at the top left, it's gone up. So I've got current and safe. Now, I don't know what safe means. I have no idea what it's telling me. If it saves, I don't know what that is. It's if anyone knows, please explain. And I've lost my counter. Bloody hell. But yeah, this one really frustrated me because I just kept trying and trying and trying. And I wasn't getting anywhere. In this particular part, I've had situations where it'll throw me into the barriers, if you want to call them that. Really not the funnest race in this game. It really far from the funnest race in this game. And there I go, I think I've lost it again. Honestly, I would highly recommend removing this from the campaign in general and just keeping it as an arcade thing. It's one of those things that you just chuck in arcade. The people that want that random extra challenge, but oh god. If it's going to affect progression and upgrades, I really do not want this to be a part of the campaign at all. I really think it should be removed. Hey, look, it's a suggestion. If other people like having it in there, I can only go with the majority. But for me, I want it gone. And I hope it's gone at some point. But yeah, this... I obviously, I'm commentating as I'm playing this. I'm not doing as well, but I have hit, I think 8 was my highest. And Jesus, this is terrible. I'm not doing too well. But 8 is the highest I've hit, if I recall. And 10 is the required amount. And you've got 2 laps to do it. It's not very fun. And the next race we're actually going to take a look at. Now, this race... This is this is by far the worst race in the game. For the sole reason that it actually is blocking my progress. Now, it could potentially be because I suck, but this is the boss race. And I have read that one other person in the Steam review things, which I don't really always find as credible, but the Steam reviews, one of the guys said that they had issues with the bosses, and I thought, oh, you know, it can't be that difficult. The difficulty of the bosses practically feel rigged. And I don't know if I'll be able to show you while I'm commentating. I really can't be bothered concentrating on the race, but I'll explain why. First of all, I've had situations where I've got, just itch my nose, a good few, about 3 seconds ahead of him, and he just comes speeding up out of nowhere. Like, what the hell? And then there's situations where they will practically use an infinite amount of secondary weapons on you. That's really not fun. Here we go, he's using mines on me. Oh, come on, that was locked on. Whoop, whoop, you see that? 3 mines in a row. Really not that fond of it. So, honestly, I really think this mission, these boss races should be balanced, or a difficulty should be added. Oh my god, I destroyed him. How funny would it be if I'm not focusing as much and I actually beat him? That would be hilarious. But yeah, look, if it's blocking progress for some people, either add a difficulty for this particular AI, or rebalance the bosses, because it's extremely frustrating. Now, they did say they changed the AI difficulty in the most recent update. Now I'm getting pressured. Now I'm checking behind me to see if it's not there. But yeah, they said they changed the AI difficulty, and I don't think they changed the boss difficulty by the looks of it. So I really think that they should add difficulty for all AI. They did do it for arcade, but not for the campaign. There's a bit of a missed opportunity there. So I'm actually going to see. We'll play a little bit. Oh my god. What? You have to finish in 1:42 to unlock... Oh my god. So not only do you have to beat the boss, you have to... Oh my god, you have to get a timer to unlock gold. Okay, that's alright, that's alright. But I beat the boss. Well, that makes me look really bad now, because I wasn't focusing and I still beat him. I think I got lucky because I destroyed him that time. But, ooh, Tier 2 Sign-Genuineness. New items unlock high something or rather. Okay, well this is a good opportunity to actually take a look into some of the features of the game, other than the gameplay itself. So can we go back to the main menu? So, oh yeah, we'll go continue. So what we've got here, you've got your career mode, which is basically, you've got 3 different manufacturers which we're seeing here that you can choose from. Each manufacturer gives you a racer to choose from, and I'm repeating myself. Each one has a speciality. So one might specialize in energy, one might specialize in, what do you call it? Speed. Another might specialize in handling. And each one will also have their advantages and disadvantages, whereas the IES or Ion systems seem to have only one advantage, and that's if they run out of energy, they'll send out a pulse to nearby racers and damage them. And then you've got this guy, which they don't really overheat. Now that's a good thing that they don't overheat, but the catch is, if you allow yourself to hit critical temperatures for too long, you can actually explode. And then this one here, the handling is good, but the overall stats, not so great. Now just a heads up, this particular part is probably going to be the boring part, because we are discussing non-gameplay elements. Aren't you glad I started with gameplay first? Now we've got here the Jumpstart Tournament, which is basically the actual tournament, if I should say. There's only one to start off with, so we're going into it now. We've got different tiers. You've got up to 5 tiers, and in order to unlock each tier, you needed to beat the boss. So you could understand my frustration, or my previous frustration. Now that I beat the boss, that frustration is pretty redundant, but you can unlock them. So we're going to go in, and we're going to take a look at customization, vehicle customization, which adds more diversity to the game. So there's quite a few things you can customize: your weapons, which are redundant anyways, armor, your boosters, your engine, your cooler. You can even change your paint color, which I prefer black. Everyone knows I prefer black. And your shield. So I unlocked something. Let's see if we can find it. What's this? Ooh. Less energy consumption. 114%. Yes, please. I don't know why I didn't have that equipped before. Engine, I didn't unlock for the engine. Shield. Now, shield's a bit weird. It says shield strength, 1.13, and then the one I unlocked afterwards is 1.07. Is that better? Is it worse? Like, I'm not sure. Why would something I unlock be worse? Now, there's also an arcade mode, which is really cool. I'm glad that they added it. Ooh, what's this? Okay, so, so it's an upgraded version of the original racer. Now, the arcade mode apparently allows you to try 2 new race types. This was in their recent update, but you can actually customize more options. So if I go options, whoops, wrong options. If I go to this deathmatch race, for example, I can choose different tracks. I can choose which direction I want the track to go in. So instead of racing the normal direction, we can go backwards. I can choose the amount of opponents. I can choose the NPC difficulty, which nightmare is what I would avoid. I can choose the amount of respawns, NPC respawns, the time of the race. Holy cow, I didn't know you can go to 1 hour. 30 seconds, that's too low. Damage factor. Oh, damn it, I didn't want to start the race. But anyways, that's, those are the options you can customize for arcade. And that's just one of the options you can customize for the race. You can actually add different laps as well for different race types. But I'm going to try and get out of this race now because I really didn't want to go into that. Okay, wow, okay. I was going to comment on the graphics and visuals just now, which I was going to say, the graphics are really good, but that's given that you won't really be stopping to check out the environment or the graphics in general. But, you know, there's a decent amount of detail, especially if you're playing on the superb, what do you call it? On the superb preset for the graphics setting. I've dropped in frame rates here. So obviously I should not be playing on superb with my specs. Oh wow, this is a track that's really crazy. Now, I might have a comparison in the background to show you the difference between the lowest graphics and the highest graphics, which might be appearing right about now. Wow. I was gonna say that the maps all look the same. Now, the problem is that this is because when I had played, I never got a chance to get past that boss. So that really changes things. So the maps are actually fairly diverse, obviously. And then the tracks themselves are fairly diverse. So you've got, like, you might have one map, and then you might have multiple tracks on that map. And those multiple tracks will be in different perspectives, different routes, so to speak. Performance-wise, the game is doing fairly well. I mean, I'm running it on Superb right now on a 660 Ti, which is 2 gig, overclocked apparently by Asus, with an FX 8150 CPU, an 8 gig of RAM. That might not mean much to many people, but it might be to some. And I'm holding a good 30 FPS. I'm sitting at 40 now, 50, 59, 60. So I haven't really gone below 30 FPS at all, which is really good. That's definitely a good sign. Maybe if I run it on high, I'd be able to get more out of the system. But that's good. I haven't noticed any major lag spikes as well in my time playing. I've had maybe 1 or 2, but that could have just been my system. I didn't want to hit that. So either way, I've rarely noticed any lag spikes or frame rate drops, and this is a definite good sign. This can't be guaranteed. What did I come? I came second. Okay, not bad. This can't be said for other systems, obviously. Mainly because, everyone's system's going to be different in some way. So, yeah, that's it for graphics and visuals. Don't really have too much to say for it. I mean, the recommended requirements... What did I unlock? The recommended requirements for the game is a 3 GHz quad-core CPU, 1 gig graphics card, and 8 gig of RAM. So, a 1 gig graphics card, I mean, you can get basic ones nowadays, which should do the trick, but obviously frequency is something you want to factor in. So, recommended requirements suggest that this is not a very resource-hungry game. I haven't found that it's a very resource-hungry game. But we can move on to the audio now, which I have to say... Oh, here we go. Yeah, we're back to the same tracks. These are the same maps from before. That's not too great. But it's just different, different race types. We'll do the deathmatch one. But yeah, audio. Oh, audio is fairly good, but this is really hard for me to comment on. or give an opinion on in general, mainly because, you know, it's a futuristic racer, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it, you know, so I have no idea what a futuristic racing car would sound like, but given the sound effects in this, I would say they're pretty much what you'd expect for a futuristic racer to sound like, or for a futuristic car to sound like. I don't know, I can't really describe it too well. But another thing I liked is the music. The music in this is actually really good. I would like a little more variation, but one thing I noticed... Hey, can I go on the side? Oh, what a shame. I've noticed that it's really good. It suits the game, and it also suits that futuristic atmosphere really well. Is this a new song again? Has it done that thing on me where yeah, okay, I think this might be a new song, but you know, I would appreciate a little more variation in the music, but you know, it's just a suggestion. It's good. It suits the game. They didn't pick the wrong music. Good choice there. I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied with it for the most part. Whoa, I killed him. Good on me. Always good to take a little bit of a break in between a preview, just to play for shits and giggles. Oh, this is a different map, sort of. Wow, here we go. See, this is the cool stuff. This is the cool stuff that makes this game stand out. I like it. Okay, sorry about that little hiccup here, but we are going to have to get into some slightly boring stuff, and I'm really sorry about this, guys. This is something I don't normally talk about, and this is the menu. But lately, as I've been playing games more and more over the course of my gaming life, career thingy, I've noticed that many games that have options for graphics and audio will lack settings. And this irritates me, but I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I do think it's something that does need to be discussed, so people who are thinking of purchasing this game and are watching this preview know what they're basically in for. Now, fortunately for this game, the graphics and audio options weren't lacking, so you've got a few different presets that you can run. I can't change it because it's going to make the screen go all funny, but you've got very low, you've got low, medium, high, very high, then super. Super is the maximum. And then you've also got other things that you can play around with. If you don't want to use the presets, you've got texture quality, anisotropic filtering, shadow resolution, etc., etc. So you've got a good amount of variety in the settings to play with so that you can squeeze the most out of your system without having to rely on these presets. Because sometimes presets, you can't trust them. Sometimes it might say high, but you might not be getting the most out of your system resources. So that's really good. I'm glad that they have a lot of variation here. And audio options. I would say the audio options are just right. I'm pretty satisfied with them. And I like that they've actually got different like settings for the music in racing and the music while you're at the menu. I love that because sometimes I do actually want music in game to be quieter than music on the menu, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people do. But one thing that this here, engine sounds, every single racing game should have this engine sounds, because I don't know, any good driver in real life will tell you that it's usually pretty important to be able to hear the engine when you're racing, especially if you're like me. In real life, I prefer driving manual cars. I hate driving automatics. I find them boring, even though you can relax more. And sometimes you need to hear the engine. Like, some people might rely on the rev meter, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a car person, no surprise. But I rely on the sound of the engine to know when to change gears. And obviously in this, I'm not changing gears or anything, but I do like to hear the sound of the engine to know how fast I'm going, whether it's over revving or anything like that. Now, controller interactions with this particular sound options, because interacting with the menus, it's fairly good with the controller, but if I try to move the controller around, So you'll notice that I can select back, but when I go up to select other things, it doesn't indicate what I'm selecting. Now, I'm not taking a shot at the developers or anything here. I'm just showing that this is a bug, and I highly suggest that it gets fixed. So that's it from the menu. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can obviously take a look. You can see what's on the screen. And, you know, see for yourself what you do and don't want to play. But what am I going to play? Hit the target. Yeah, let's do this. Tunnels. Time penalty. Let's go 1 second. Let's go start. Now, the only thing... Well, not the only thing. I would say that this game is missing a few things here and there. Not really stuff that affects the overall game. One thing I would like to suggest is local co-op or local multiplayer. This is the kind of game that would, you know, it would do it justice. I would love to see this in the future, and I'm sure some of my fans who have seen me play games with Louis would love to see me and Louis go head-to-head on this sort of thing. I actually think Louis would like it, which is saying a lot because he doesn't like a lot of games, so if he can like something like this, I'm pretty sure quite a lot of other people would. Oh, this is going to be a really crazy track. Yep, I missed the target. God damn it. Yeah. So, patch notes. I always comment on patch notes with early access games. It's necessary because it's very important in an early access game. Now, they're doing really well with this. I'm pretty happy with the patch notes. Hopefully they keep it up. They're very informative. They're good for both the developers because it makes the developer look good. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. GameArt Studio. You could pay me for that later. But, it shows that the developer's actually doing something. You know, if you don't have patch notes, some people will look at it and go, have they updated it? Are they actually fixing bugs or not? You know, it shows that the developers are doing stuff, but it also informs the consumer. It shows the consumer what has been updated and what hasn't whenever they have to download an update for it. Because, you know, there's nothing worse than if you have to download like a 1 to 2 gig update and you have no idea what's been changed. It will drive you insane. Moving on to value for money. That was a quick race. Moving on to value for money. Now, keep in mind that I actually requested a preview key from GameArt Studio, and they were kind enough to hand me one. So thank you to GameArt Studio for that. How do I go back? There we go. Let's go deathmatch. Let's jump this up. Let's conclude this with a crazy 6-minute race. Let's put them on medium. Let's go 9 opponents. What do I want? Storm Coast. Silent Tunnels. Oh god, that is gonna get crazy. Yeah, let's do it. Value for money. I've said this like 3 times now. It's going for $5 on Steam at the moment, which is a fairly good price for an early access game. I personally think that $5 should be the cap price for any early access game that's ever released, but that's a bit of a bias saying, but $5 is pretty good. Value for money is fairly decent, especially if you want to try out both the career mode and the arcade mode. I got about 3 hours out of the game before I hit that boss, so I could probably get more. I'm probably going to get about another hour or 2, depending on how far I want to play, given that I can now beat at least one of the bosses. I'm not sure how I'll do against the other bosses. So you might be able to get about an hour out of the first tier for yourself. I'm not sure. I tried to squeeze as much out of it as I could, you know, get a better feel for the game. Naturally, doing a preview... Wow, what did I do? Naturally, doing a preview, you do want to get the most out of this game, and I'm going nuts because this track is crazy. I love it. This is nuts. This brings me back to some of those crazy days racing in Wipeout. I love it. Yeah, so arcade mode, you can probably get a lot more time out of it. It's one of those modes which is, you know, pretty much lasts as long as you want it to, really. And overall, this game, the concept, it has been executed very well. So kudos to GameArt Studio. They've done really well. Most of the functionality is there. I haven't killed anyone. The whole idea of this race is to kill people, and I haven't killed a single soul. There we go. That should kill someone, hopefully. Yeah, overall, it's doing pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with this, and I would recommend it. It's not bad considering how early it was released. How early it is in its development. You know, the only thing it's lacking, I found so far, was just content. But that I can't really stand by that comment now, because once again that boss was blocking my progress. And obviously now that it hasn't, I've got access to more content, which is really good. But I would say, as a heads up, keep in mind that that boss can be a fairly difficult race if you're not careful. Hopefully it isn't for anyone that purchases it, and it hasn't for me. You saw, I beat him, it's doable, it's not impossible, and I wasn't even focusing 100%. How crazy is that? So, it's an early access game that's worth trying with minimal financial risk. Whoa, what did I do? Minimal financial risk to the consumer. $5. That's not going to break your wallet, really. So if you've got $5 to spend and you're looking for a really good and decent futuristic racer, and you've got the money to burn, you've got one right here. I'd recommend it. Go for it. So Quantum Rush Champions is $5 on Steam at the moment, available for early access. I will have links in the description. Sorry, $5 US, I should point out. And you can check it out if you like. I will also link Quantum Rush Online. Now keep in mind this is the multiplayer variant. So you will have to create an account, you will have to sign up, you will have to verse other players. I've lost the NPCs. But you can, it'll be decent to get a feel for the game. I'm not sure if it's as updated as Champions, but the features are going to be fairly different. I will link it just in case, but I still recommend trying this out. $5, man. I know I didn't pay for it, but holy hell, I would. And I really stand by this. This is really fun. It can get crazy, but obviously I'm commentating, so I'm not doing too well. I've fallen behind. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please leave some feedback in the comments down below. It would really help me out. This is probably one of the longest previews I've ever done. And I was pretty tired while recording this, so I apologize if it sounded weird. That's just me. I kind of had to do it, otherwise I wouldn't have got... Oh, goddamn. Otherwise I wouldn't have got it done. But yeah, constructive feedback would really help me out, because I'm getting back onto that preview review horse, if you want to call it that. And feedback will really help me improve. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. And as usual, I will see you in the next video.